Hi, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to live Q&A. Welcome. If this is your first time, I'm so excited that you've chosen to be here with us. This is live Q&A for the global community of adult survivors of complex trauma, those who are living with CPTSD symptoms as a result of childhood trauma. Trauma that you endured during childhood that you're still living with the symptoms of hopelessness, anxiety, depression, the way that CPTSD can manifest itself in adulthood. So if that is you, you're in the right place. Welcome, welcome. If you're here and you're here every week and you have been for 4 years with me, then I'm so excited that you're here. You guys are the absolute reason why this community is so amazing, because you guys show up every single week. So I'm honored to be a part of it. I'm honored to host this safe space, just hold this safe space for you guys every single week. And if you're watching a replay, you won't see the chat box over here that I refer to a lot, like right along the side. But you will have comments down below that you can leave, even a note just to say hi, or if you have questions, please feel free to do so in the comments if you're watching a replay. Really quickly, if you're on a replay, I'm going to go through just some housekeeping items and just welcome people who are here for the live discussion. So you can probably fast forward about 5 minutes if you don't feel like listening to this. So if you are here live, you know that these videos are not ever to be considered a substitute for mental health care or healthcare, professional healthcare of any kind. Every single one of these videos is taught from a coaching perspective. I simply share research that I've conducted over the last, for my 17, 18-year healing journey. I'm just sharing research that I've done. I'm sharing it from a lived experience perspective. What's helped for me, what's helped for my private clients, what is going on out there on the internet, different coping strategies and books and healing resources and other YouTube channels that are very helpful, downloadable resources. Tonight, we are talking about navigating the feelings that we're having. I wanted to tell you in the very beginning of the video what the topic was this week, and I failed to do that. And here I am 4 minutes in, so I apologize. But this week we're starting a series on feelings. And the thing I hear most often with my private clients is, I'm doing fine, and then Athena, and then all of a sudden something happens in my life, and sometimes I feel anxiety, or sometimes I feel afraid, sometimes I feel good and hopeful. And all of these feelings are very triggering. And I need to know how to navigate feelings. I can't go through my life just being numb. I want to be able to feel. I want to be able to feel good. I want to be able to navigate my way through feelings that are unpleasant. And if feelings are pleasant, I want to be able to sit with them and allow them to feel good and have them not be triggering for me. So can you help me with this? So this series that we're starting is on that topic. And I'm so excited to finally be addressing this topic in a series, meaning that we will take questions. If you have questions on these topics, I'm going to do some screen shares right now after I welcome everybody. And then I'll be taking your questions live, and then we're going to end at the top of the hour. So welcome, welcome. Really quickly, this is going to be triggering for anyone who has endured any type of maltreatment during childhood. These discussions and sometimes the questions sent in by our community members are really graphic in nature. So I would love it if you would just step away from the chat box, step away. If you are on Twitter using the hashtag #NoMoreShame and you're tweeting out your questions, and receive the excellent care that you deserve. This is never crisis care. YouTube is never crisis care. I'm not set up for crisis care. I wish I was. I wish I had crisis treatment centers and across the globe where I could offer crisis care for people, but I'm just not set up for that. So I will just continue showing up and serving this community in any way that I can, in a way that I am set up for, which is to record these YouTube videos and to answer your questions, do my best to answer your questions. So everyone that arrives here deserves to be treated with respect and dignity and kindness. And if you are new, or even if you're a long time member of our community, I'm asking you to be a part of the solution and welcome anyone that comes with open arms. Welcome them. Be kind to them. And when we choose to be unkind to others, and we don't know their situation, we don't know what's going on in their life, what we're telling them is that they don't belong here and that they might never heal. That's the message they're receiving, that something's wrong with them. So I've created this space on Monday nights where if you are choosing to be unkind to other people, you're going to be deleted. You're going to be blocked. You're not going to be welcome back here ever again, period. And because everyone that comes here, I want them to know how welcome they are and that this is safe and that you can find a safe place to come and ask questions and not be shamed or treated poorly. So thank you for adhering to those guidelines. Thank you for being here. You guys are the most important part of this community. You are the reason this community is so transforming and healing and powerful and just incredible. And so I couldn't do any of this without you guys. A very special thank you to our volunteers who tweet out information all week long, invite people on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. A very special thank you to Dawn and to Matt for moderating the chat box here and also moderating the hashtag No More Shame over on Twitter. So thank you to Kalisha. Thank you to special thank you to Lisa, who is helping vet everyone for private groups. So if you are still looking to get into a free group where you can heal with other people who have been through what you've been through, people who will never tell you that you need to hurry up and just get over it. That was 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. What's your problem? You should be over it by now. You'll never hear that, not in our groups. The people in our groups are amazing, and they're just there being themselves. They just show up vulnerably and create a safe space so that you can show up vulnerably if you choose to. And they're a wonderful, safe place. If you want to get plugged in, email Lisa at CPTSDfoundation.org. I got a couple of emails last week from someone that said, I emailed CPTSD.org and it says that there's nobody there, that it's not an email address. We're not CPTSD.org. I'm CPTSDfoundation.org. It's a foundation for complex trauma research. It's research that's ongoing every single day on the topics of complex trauma, CPTSD symptoms, the way they manifest themselves in adulthood, especially if you're carrying it all the way from childhood. I got a really nice email from a doctor, this PhD in LA today, just mentioning, I found your YouTube channel. So if you're watching, thank you. I got your email. It's going to take me a little while to get back. I get all kinds of emails over the weekends. And so I'm really doing my best to get back to you guys quicker. So thanks for being here. We're going to be unpacking the topic of fear and unsafety tonight. Those are the feelings we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to do anger next week probably. So get the word out. That's the one that everybody's excited about. And I didn't do it first because I know that there are a lot of people that have a lot of questions about anger, and it might end up having to be a 2-hour special or a 2-weeker. I'll do my best to finish it in 1 hour, like always, but if I can't, I can't. I want to answer your questions. So next week we're going to do anger. Tonight we're going to talk about fear or unsafety, when we're triggered into a place of fear or unsafety. And I'm simply going to walk you through how I handled a situation. 6 steps. I'm just going to show you. Boom, 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 boom. 6. And then you can take notes if you want to. I don't really have a PDF, like a printable or anything. But if you do want complimentary access to all of the PDFs and the downloadables, and you want to make yourself a workbook, it's all free. You can just go to nomore-shame-project.com. and then click on downloadables. You'll be asked for your email address. You'll be given instant access to hundreds and hundreds of pages of free content that will help you heal and navigate your recovery journey from CPTSD, childhood sexual abuse, any type of childhood trauma, physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, neglect, cult abuse, all kinds of different abuse that happened in childhood. And now you're an adult and you're still dealing with the after effects. I know sometimes I get some nasty emails from you guys and you're like, how come you don't talk about people who are living with CPTSD because of an adult relationship? They didn't have a horrible childhood. They lived a perfect childhood, and then they got themselves into a relationship with a narcissist. And now, and I wasn't abused as a child. My childhood was perfect, but I was in this relationship with a narcissist for 5 years, and now I have CPTSD. How come you don't record videos on that? Why is it only for the people who were abused during childhood? My answer is very simple. There are, I can probably count right off the top of my head, 12 other YouTube channels that record videos for adults who are living with CPTSD symptoms as a result of being in a relationship in their adult years and weren't abused as children, and they want to navigate their CPTSD recovery journey. So you can go to richardgrannon.com. There are some great videos on katiemorton.com. You can go to Safe Haven. You can go to Inner Integration with Meredith. You can go to Peace and Harmony on YouTube. You can go to Smackintosh on YouTube. Actually, that is more childhood. There's Ross Rosenberg. There's Dr. Oh my goodness, what's his name? Perry something, Dr. Perry something. Anyway, there are tons. And Sandra L. Brown. Google Sandra L. Brown. She has an entire institute dedicated to this. So even Lisa Romano, a transformational life coach. There are tons of resources for adults dealing with CPTSD symptoms as a result of an adult interpersonal relationship. So I'm filling a need, which is for the adult survivors of childhood trauma that are 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years later still dealing with the after effects of being traumatized and abused during childhood, usually within the family of origin, sometimes not, but usually so. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to share. Welcome. Oh my gosh, there's like 40 something of you here already. That's amazing. Really quickly, I want to thank you guys that have already sent in your questions. And that would be Holistic Recovery, John Harvey, Sabra, Willow, Dana, and Heroes Don't Wear Cape. And Heroes Don't Wear Capes. And another question by Holistic Recovery. So I'm going to be discussing, I'm going to stay on topic tonight, and I'm going to be discussing when we have feelings of unsafety or fear and how they show up in our recovery. So I'll do my best to stay on topic tonight and answer your questions as soon as I do the screen share really quick. So I'm just going to go through super quickly how I navigated something, because you guys tell me over and over, week after week. It really helps when you share your own personal journey, Athena. I feel like I have something in my eye. Sorry, guys. Let me get a drink of water. You guys tell me week after week. You're like, it really helps us when you share your own journey. How do you navigate the waters of crazy things that happen? How do you navigate a trigger? What do you do? How do you handle that? Tell us exactly what you do. And so that's exactly what I'm going to do. I just typed it up real quick in my notes app on my phone, and boom, I took some screenshots of some Wikipedia and dictionary.com stuff, and I'm just going to boom, 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 share it, like how I navigate this. Okay, so really quickly, I'll set up. Oh, by the way, can you give this video a thumbs up, please? If you're enjoying it so far, or if you're finding it helpful, or if you find this channel helpful at all, can you please give this video a thumbs up? I still have trolls that send me emails week after week after week telling me how annoying it is that I talk the whole time and that I need to make shorter videos, when like every week I'm like, this is live Q&A, I'm live, and it's going to be like an hour, like, you know, but I still get emails that are like angry. So anyway, we have to outnumber the thumbs downers. We love the thumbs downers though. We still love you. You're welcome here, but I need to outnumber the thumbs downers with thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, it would mean a lot to me if you did. You guys ask me every week, how can we support the work that you do with survivors, Athena? And the best way right now is for you to give this video a thumbs up. Oh, I got a really cool comment the other day from somebody that asked me if I take Bitcoin. They're like, can I donate to the work you're doing? You're doing amazing work. Do you take Bitcoin? And I'm like, how can I get set up to take Bitcoin? Because that would be amazing. Okay, so really quickly, this is a brief setup of what happened and the feelings that I went through when I got triggered into a flashback. Okay, so So there was a situation over the weekend. You guys probably know. Um, there was a ballistic missile that was headed for Hawaii, where I live, and we all woke up on in the morning to a message that looked like this: ballistic missile headed for Hawaii. Seek shelter. This is not a drill. And that's what I woke up to. And so I was like, oh my goodness. And so that was a little triggering because I was like, well, I could die. It takes 20 minutes for a missile to get here. And so what should I do? And so I like posted some stuff in our groups. I sent out a tweet. I texted my son, my daughter-in-law, my cousin, and, you know, sat with my husband and drank coffee and prayed and read my Bible and just sort of hung out and did what I would normally do on a Saturday morning. Well, we came in after we got another message that said, oh, there's no missile. It was a false alarm. Yeah. No missile. You're not going to die. False alarm. So I was fine. I navigated my way through those feelings. I really work well under pressure. It's just part of my programming from childhood. I work really well in that situation. So I tell you that to say this. We walked inside, and my husband went in to go to the bathroom, and I went in to go to the bathroom. And we were just outside having coffee, quiet time, prayer, Bible study, whatever. Come in to go to the bathroom. We are each in ankle-deep water in our bathrooms. Not just water, but like sewage in our bathrooms, 2 bathrooms. So we had to like shift gears immediately and begin like calling somebody to get a shop vac to come so we could suck up all of the junk. And long story short, the association came, everybody came, the plumbers came, the people that take care of the mold and all the stuff, they come, it's all good. But it was like 8 hours of like drama, you know what I mean? And I had clients, I had meetings, I had to leave and leave it all for my husband to handle because I had work. And then I got back and then I just rested. And then I rested on Sunday and I felt really awesome. So today the person is supposed to show up. The people that come and they have all these fans that are going. They're trying to dry out the carpet. The carpet was all soaked in the bedrooms and like, you know, everywhere. And so this is where the trigger comes in. The people that show up today, it was the same person that was here on Saturday, only when he shows up, he's walking up my walkway and my entire apartment is filled with cigarette smoke. Yeah. Cigarette smoke. Well, that's one of the triggers that I'm still working through. I'm in therapy. I'm in EMDR. I'm working hard on my recovery. But one of my biggest triggers is cigarette smoke. It just is. A lot of my abuse there were cigarettes involved in a lot of my abuse. Everybody in my family smoked. It was just a lot. And so I froze, and I'm just going to do the screen share now that you have the build up to like what it is I'm talking about. So this is what it looks like when you get triggered by something. And PTSD versus CPTSD. PTSD triggers, you get triggered and you're back to an instance. You're back to a singular event, or an event that is easily recognizable as event. And like, you are in this location and this is what is happening, and this is the sound that's going to happen. This is what you're going to go through. This is everything. Like, that's PTSD. CPTSD, you get thrown into more of an emotional flashback. And we all know that the smell, the sense of smell, the scent is smell. Your sense of smell is precognitive. So you smell something and you're already transported to a place before you even realize you're transported to a place. So if you are thrown into an emotional flashback due to a smell, it is difficult to know that that's what's happening. and it's difficult to navigate. And since I'm just barely coming off of this just several hours ago, I just decided, you know what? I was going to do anger for the first feeling that we're going into the series on feelings, but instead I'm going to do fear and unsafety because it's fresh and I can just show up vulnerable and show them what's going on with me. So there's part of me right now. There's part of me right now that is still dealing with the feelings of unsafety and fear. I'm fine now, and I want to show you what the map looks like for me. So thanks for your patience as I set all of that up. I'm going to go ahead and here we go. Hopefully you guys can see this. Okay. So here we are in week 1. We're navigating feelings during CPTSD recovery. The feeling we're talking about is fear and unsafety. So I was triggered by the sense of the smell of cigarette smoke, okay? It threw me into an emotional flashback. I don't know where I was, but I definitely wasn't here. I was somewhere else. It was a bad situation. I wasn't okay, but I needed to interact with this person because I'm at my apartment alone and there's a man in the other room and I'm supposed to be communicating with him and being able to adult properly so that I can have the fans taken out of my house and be done with this plumbing situation that we had going on, okay? But that didn't happen very smoothly. So I say to him, "Do you smell cigarette smoke?" And he said, "Oh yes, I'm so sorry, I was smoking in my van." And I said, and this is how I worded it, would you like to wash your hands, please? Like when my dad used to smoke and then he would try to drive my car, then he would drive my car and my steering wheel would smell like cigarette smoke. And then I would get in after work and be driving and then my hands would smell like cigarettes and then I would smell like a cigarette. And so anyway, I said, would you like to wash your hands, please? And he's like, "Oh no, I'm fine." Like I wasn't very firm about it. So I let it go. I released it. So he said a few words to me about going into the other room and handling some things. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. Whatever. So now I realize this is my trauma response. Okay. I'm in a fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Okay. Now I got to tell you guys something. So you guys know this about me if you've been here on this channel very long. We have different trauma responses. I am a freeze, flee if I'm in a pretty safe situation. My life's not in danger. Okay? When my life is in danger or it's really terrifying, my body is flung into a freeze fawn where I try to talk my way through it and reason with it and figure it out. And I'm like, I fully engage with the person, with the predator, with the object of my trigger. I engage with it like, I can handle this. I can figure this out. I can fix it. I can fix it. That's me if it's like potentially life-threatening. So I'm standing with myself in the kitchen. The dude's in the other room. He's in one of our bathrooms. And I'm like, I'm triggered right now. I know that I'm triggered. I'm triggered and I'm freezing. I'm freezing right now. Okay. So I'm like, I'm going to sit with this. It's going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. I'm like trying to talk myself, right? I'm trying like, I got to walk my talk. I tell everybody week after week what to do. And so I want to share with you, like, I decided that I would do one of my very favorite coping strategies, which is search the internet for things. And so this is what I searched, trauma response. And so here we go. The first thing that came up was, I think it was like stopstress.com. And it reads, the first thing I read is, the fight or flight response in original form is about survival. It is about hope. We activate it when we believe there is a chance we can outrun or outfight our attackers or the guy that shows up to fix your your plumbing and smells like cigarettes. The freeze response, however, gets activated when there is no hope. Okay. So here you go. I'm like trying to like manage this. I'm in my kitchen. I'm like trying to just be okay. I'm like texting my colleague. I'm like, when the people show up at your house and they smell like cigarette smoke and you're totally triggered, like not okay. I'm like sitting here, oh my gosh, right? So then he starts to talk to me from out of the room. He's like, okay, this is what's happening. You know, I'm going to do this or whatever. And I'm like, I need you to wash your hands. I just calmly communicated my need. Did it take a lot of courage? Hell to the yeah, it took a lot of courage. It took a lot of courage to communicate my need, but I was like, I'm not okay. I need to tell the guy to wash his hands. And he's like, I'm so sorry. And he's like backing away from me. He's like this 6'3" dude. And so anyway, he goes, he's like, I'll take off my shirt. He's like taking off his shirt. I'm just like, okay. And so he goes and he changes his clothes in his van and he comes and he's washing his hands. He's like, I'm so sorry. I can only apologize. And I just stood there for a second. And I'm just like, distress tolerance. I can tolerate this. I can tolerate this. I'm telling myself this. I can tolerate this. And so let's go back, shall we? Let's just go back just for 1 second. And I'm going to go through my little, I want to go through all of my little things with you. So here, I'm in a fight, flight, freeze response. And I'm like, I can tolerate this. Okay. But just backing up 1 second. It said that the little screen share that I showed you from stopstress.com where they do stress tolerance training, it says that the freeze response is activated when there's no hope. So my body is like, there is no hope of escape. Your house smells like cigarettes. You're trapped. You're surrounded by cigarette smoke right now. And you're not getting out. You're in there. You're stuck. And I didn't have it closed up like I do now because of the bright sun and all. Like I had it open and just like, you know, the breeze was flowing. And I'm just like, please, like, just get the smell out of here. But I'm like, no, I can sit with this. I can sit with this. So when I read that it was like the freeze response is activated when there's no hope, I realized that I feel completely trapped and hopeless. And I'm like, well, that doesn't help that I read that right now, but I'm going to share this with our community tonight because maybe someone needs to hear that. Maybe that's going to light off a light bulb for someone tonight. So I'm going to share it. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sit with this. I have distress tolerance skills. Like a boss, I can handle some distress. I can tolerate some stress. Okay. I have learned to bear the weight of all of this CPTSD stuff skillfully. I have learned. And so I looked up some distress tolerance and I'm like, I want to explain to everybody what distress tolerance is. And I just want them to be able to like, you know, read it for themselves. And I want to walk them through it all. So here we go. Distress tolerance from Wikipedia. Okay. Distress tolerance is an emerging construct in psychology that has been conceptualized in several different ways. Broadly, however, it refers to an individual's perceived capacity to withstand negative emotional and/or aversive states, and the behavioral act of withstanding distressing internal states elicited by some type of stressor. Some definitions of distress tolerance have also specified that the endurance of these negative events occur in contexts in which methods to escape the distressor exist. So I want to just share with you that if you haven't purchased a DBT workbook, I highly recommend it because DBT, dialectical behavior therapy, is one of the modalities that is extremely helpful if you want a framework for how to navigate triggers and how to be mindful and walk your way through when you're triggered. Getting those distress tolerance skills. every day, every day, every day, every day. A few minutes every day. And then it becomes just a part of your automatic thing. Like you don't have to think about breathing, you just breathe. You don't have to think, about certain things, you just automatically do them, right? Like when you're driving along in your car and you're like, did I already go through the tunnel? I think I went through the tunnel. I can't believe I was just somewhere else. I was just driving because I've been driving for so many years, right? So it's just part of our natural thing that happens. Distress tolerance, highly recommend. So then after distress tolerance, I was sitting with myself and I was sort of observing my behaviors. By the way, at this point, the guy is long gone. Okay, the guy had left. He's like, well, I'll be back tomorrow, and when I come tomorrow, I promise I won't smoke. And I'm like, thank you. And he's like, all I can do, I can only apologize once more. And I'm like, I accept your apology. Thank you. I appreciate you not smoking tomorrow. I appreciate that. Thank you. He said, I'll give you a call in the morning. And I said, okay. So then I was like, I'm fine. Disaster averted. I handled it. I rocked that. It was great. I didn't lose my shit in front of the guy. Kind of, maybe a little, but not to the point where I'm like, I needed to like call my therapist. Like it wasn't to that degree. And if it was, like, I'm in recovery for CPTSD. I'm dealing with some stuff. So I just sat with myself and I didn't judge my behaviors. I was just sitting with myself and I'm like, what am I doing right now? And I realized that I was obsessively organizing. I was organizing my bedroom. I was organizing my cupboards, my pantry, my dishes. I was organizing my refrigerator. In fact, I took a picture of my refrigerator to show you. And I didn't shame myself. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to take a picture of this. I'm going to share with the family tonight. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to show you my picture of me sitting with and handling. So I sat with this. Okay? I was obsessively organizing everything. Everything has a place. Everything's in its place. It's all lined up. I had just gone to Costco, by the way, which is on the other side of the island. It's over an hour one way. And so I stock up on things that I know. And then here I make green smoothies every day for my husband and I, and, with almond milk and orange juice. And like over here is the freezer. You can't see it, but, fruits and stuff like that. And then I have sparkling water every night, and my husband has a glass of wine, and then he likes this, anyway. So, and I love me some Fufu coffee creamer. So just to give you an idea, it would be easy for me to judge myself. Okay. I've probably lost like half of you. You're like, what the hell is Athena doing tonight? But this is real. This is not a drill, I guess, is what I'm getting at. Like the whole thing, this is not a drill. Like the whole thing that happened with my plumbing and whatever, it wasn't like it was just a situation that was going to go away quickly, like the missile alert. And then, oh, by the way, that was just a mistake. It didn't really, there's no missile. Like all of a sudden we were ankle deep in shit, literally. Like upstairs, the people that were staying upstairs, like their shit, because we hadn't the plumbing was fine, and that we had flushed, everything was fine, and then all of a sudden 30 minutes later we come in and we're like, whoa, wait a second, and we hear people upstairs because we have it's like vacation rental up there. So anyhow, so I could have judged myself on my obsessive organizing, but I didn't. I should have Googled and did the Wikipedia for radical acceptance, but I'm radically accepting the fact that one of my coping strategies is organization. I'm going to consider it a healthy coping strategy. And I didn't judge myself. And so I want you to know that organizing for me is very soothing sometimes, especially if I'm triggered. And so I'm going to share with you, self-soothing is something that is something that all of us can learn to do. Again, DBT for the win. And self-soothing is a verb of a young child, especially one this is Wikipedia, by the way, of a young child especially one left to fall asleep on their own, they stop crying without being comforted by a parent or a caregiver. It can be said in a sentence, my son only started self-soothing when he was 8 months old. The next definition on Wikipedia was to comfort oneself when unhappy or distressed. Notice that it's to comfort oneself. Like it's us, like we do it. Many of us self-soothe with junk food, a glass of wine, maybe some mindless television. So I want to encourage you to allow yourself to self-soothe in whatever way you need to that you consider to be healthy. I didn't choose to self-soothe through food, which is something I normally would do, but I found myself not doing that. I wasn't trying not to self-soothe through food. I just sat with myself and I went, oh, I'm organizing. This is me self-soothing. This is a healthier coping mechanism than me turning to junk food. Okay. And then I was like, do I even have junk food? And I looked and I was like, oh, check it out. I'm like, I got some Oreos right here. I'm like, I could have like seriously done some damage. I could have eaten 1, 2, 3. I could have eaten like all 4 Oreos in like 2 seconds. And that would have been very soothing, but I didn't. I was organizing instead. So I'm like, you know what? Self-soothing, organization, obsessive compulsively organizing, whatever. I'm going to take that for the win. So then I sat with this and I'm like, you know what? I really am going to share this with everybody tonight. And I want to encourage them to practice self-care and to do whatever they can to be really kind to themselves. And so one of the last ones I'm going to show you here is self-care. This is number 5. There's only one left. And I just want to share with you. Does it say self-soothe? I thought I did self-care. Hold on. I thought I did self-care. Where did it go? Self-care. Yes. Awesome. So self-care. Necessary human regulatory function which is under individual control, deliberate, and self-initiated. In healthcare, self-care is any necessary human regulatory function which is under individual control, deliberate, and self-initiated. Some place self-care on a continuum with healthcare providers at the opposite end to self-care. In modern medicine, preventative medicine aligns most closely with self-care. I just want to note for a moment that I instinctively somehow was taking care of myself. I decided that I was going to hydrate. This is like my 4th glass of water today. And then as a radical act of self-care, I chose to document all of this. And I chose to lie down for 30 minutes before I got everything ready for tonight's Q&A. That's not always what I would have done. I would have handled this much differently previously. I wouldn't have been as kind to myself. I would have judged my obsessive compulsive behaviors. I definitely would not have told him to wash his hands. I'm just sitting here to tell you that I've come a long way in almost 18 years. I have kept silent. I have sacrificed my well-being on the altar of everyone else's approval. I have sacrificed my well-being for reasons that I don't even understand. I've kept silent. I've not spoken up. I have done, I've self-soothed through a lot of unhealthy coping strategies, whether it's over drinking of alcohol in the past, or eating junk food, or self-harming behaviors like eating disorder, like binging or purging. I mean, I have had my share of unhealthy coping strategies, and I'm just sitting here today and I'm telling you that this is a win. And I didn't get here overnight. It takes some time. Which is the last thing that we'll talk about here. We're going to talk about time. So, see, I was triggered. And then I was in the flashback and I was in my kitchen and I was like, okay, I'm frozen right now. But then I was like, you know what? I can handle this. I'm strong. And then once he was gone and I communicated my need and I told him to wash his hands and then he communicated back and he apologized, then I was like, okay, I observed myself and I was obsessively organizing, but it was very self-soothing for me. And then I documented all of this for you guys so that I could share my journey. And I went to lie down for 30 minutes and rest, which is a radical act of self-care. Now this last one here, patience. This does not come naturally. It is horrifically challenging if you're new to healing from anything. Patience is not something that comes easy, but it is key to healing. It is key to healing, okay? I want to just ask you guys, and I want to give you permission right now. I want to give you permission if you need permission, and I want to gently nudge you and firmly ask you to give yourself as much time as you need or have when you're triggered and when you have feelings of unsafety or feelings of fear, because you are worthy. You are worthy. You're worthy of all it takes to heal. We all are. We're worth it, okay? So I do have a little definition of patience. Not that you all need it, but it helped me. Again, I documented this whole darn thing because I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to skip anything. Patience. The capacity to accept or tolerate, there's that word tolerate again, right? Distress tolerance. The capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. I can honestly sit here and look you guys in the face right now, and I can honestly tell you that I was not angry or upset with myself. I was under distress, and I was triggered, and I had feelings of fear and unsafety in my own home. My sacred safe haven was taken over by cigarette smoke, which is a very triggering smell for me. But I didn't get angry with myself, and I used to. Probably for the first 10, 15 years of my recovery journey, I would get angry with myself, and I realized, oh, this isn't getting me anywhere. Darn it. Like, I need to find something, a new way. So we're worth it, you guys. We're worth it. We're worth the patience it takes to heal. Me just sitting introspectively with this whole situation that happened and being committed to sharing it with you vulnerably, because now I'm holding myself accountable. Next time I decide to show up in one of the groups and be like, rah, 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 something, you know, maybe someone will remember this and they'll go, Athena, remember the one time? Remember the one time the guy showed up at your house, and remember how you handled it, and you shared with us how you didn't judge yourself when you were obsessive compulsively like organizing your refrigerator with all the creamers. And you know, and then maybe I'll be able to find some humor in that, and then maybe I'll be able to remind myself, remember, because you guys will remind me, you know, like, oh, you know, this is a journey. It's not a perfect science. That little list of 6 and like all the stuff that I'm sharing, I'm not a guru. This is not a perfect science. I simply fumbled my way through fear and unsafety today when I was beginning a series on our YouTube channel on feelings and how they show up and how we navigate them in our CPTSD recovery. And I'm like, well, leave it to me to be perfectly right in the middle of something so that I can have a practical application to offer everyone on a Monday night. So I decided to capitalize on that because you guys tell me it's really helpful. So I'm going to answer your questions now. Solid. Boom, boom, boom. And next week we'll tackle anger. So any questions that aren't answered tonight, I'll answer in our groups, which, by the way, if you're looking to get into a free safe group, email Lisa at cptsdfoundation.org and let her know that you want to join one of our free safe groups. And then she'll ask you some questions and make sure you get plugged into the group that will help you the best. Okay? Let's see what your questions are. You guys always have the best questions. Holistic Recovery says, how can we feel safe in the presence of narcissists that we can only be low contact with? I still feel triggered around them? The answer is I'm not sure that we can. It takes a while. It takes a while to develop the distress tolerance skills. And the only way that I've been able to do this, holistic recovery, is by surrounding myself on a regular basis, like our safe groups, with people who are farther along in their recovery than I am, or who will support my recovery journey and not shame me. That's number one. The second thing, there's only two things. And then the second thing is to set myself up for success by promising myself, we will be there for this many minutes, and then I stick to my promise. I make promises to myself and I keep my promises to myself. So I will only be near this person for this many minutes, and then I stick to my promise and I don't allow, because the thing with narcissists is they're boundary busters. And so if they can even sense for a minute that you have a boundary, then they're gonna try to like cross that boundary. Like, let's say, for instance, for an example, you're low contact with this particular narcissist you're speaking of. Let's say every month you guys show up at an event. The event is always 1 hour to the minute, and then you leave. Occasionally there's people that stay after or whatever. And you've decided that it's best for your personal journey that you show up a couple minutes late so that you don't have to deal with them, or leave a couple minutes early so that you don't have to deal with them. If they sense that you have, and that's just a deal that you make with yourself, that's a healthy boundary. If they sense that you are developing a healthy boundary, they will go out of their way to make sure that they cross over broken glass to make sure that they at least reach you, because you've established a healthy boundary. They're starving for you. You're their source of narcissistic supply. So they'll bust through your boundary on purpose. You've tried to set yourself up for success. I'm going to show up 5 minutes after so that I don't have to speak with them ahead of time. I'm going to leave 5 minutes early. They're going to make sure that they show up or go out of their way to sit next to you, or make sure that they at least get a little bit of you because they need it. So just make promises to yourself and keep your promises to yourself. And in between the times that you're around those narcissistic people that are triggering for you, surround yourself with others, like the people that are in our community that understand what narcissistic abuse is and understand that you're in recovery from abuse. And then they can build you up and bolster your recovery journey and help you to feel solid and not feel as vulnerable in those moments. So that's what's worked most effectively. John Harvey says, I'm filled with fear when I am in a relationship or starting one that I cannot control myself from fleeing. I'm afraid I will never be with anyone, and how can one get past it? So there's a couple things. You are saying, I'm filled with fear when I'm in a relationship or starting one that I cannot control myself from fleeing. So what I think you're saying is, when you're feeling vulnerable is when you're feeling fearful. Because you can always control yourself from fleeing. You can. It just takes a little bit of time. It takes some patience. But it's natural to feel fearful when you're starting a relationship. It's absolutely natural to feel fearful when you're starting a relationship. I felt fearful in relationships for years and years and years. In fact, sometimes I still feel fearful in relationships, depending on the context of the relationship. If it's a business relationship, it's a friendship, it just depends on the context of the relationship, but I do still get fearful. And the fear doesn't go away completely at first, John Harvey, but we learn to bear the weight of the fear skillfully. We navigate the fear differently because we set ourselves up for success. We identify that we are feeling fearful, and then we sit with it and we don't judge it, and we allow ourselves to develop distress tolerance skills and self-soothing, and then we practice self-care, go through the 6 steps that I mentioned tonight, and I think it will help you. Being afraid that you'll never be with anyone is a natural fear to have, but never is a really long time. And perhaps we can back up a little bit and say, maybe I'm not ready for a relationship right now. I'm hoping that in the future I will be, but for right now, I'm not ready. And because I think never's a really long time, John Harvey, and I don't want you to set yourself up in that never and always are black and white, and that's like younger parts of us, right? Like there's a younger part of us that's struggling. And black and white thinking, younger parts, you know? So I want you to be filled with hope that you're going to get through this, and not filled with doom that you're never going to be with anybody, because never's a really long time. And I think it's highly unlikely that you'll go forever without being with someone. But there is a younger part of you that is afraid, and that's okay. But we just have to continue to set ourselves up for success, surrounding ourselves with people that are on this journey with us, and, honoring our feelings, honor those feelings. And if you have a therapist, I would share with your therapist that you're having some fear of commitment, fear of relationship, you're feeling afraid, you're feeling like fleeing, and that you want help with those things. And even, you're really good about talking about this kind of stuff in the groups as well. So I think you're going to work through it. I'm confident that you'll work through it, John Harvey. Seriously. You're committed. You're working so hard on your wellness. It's amazing. Sabra says, how do we deal with the fear that comes from change? I realized for the first time in my life, I could have a year abuse-free. Congratulations, Sabra. That's huge. Sabra goes on to say, I should feel relief, but instead my CPTSD demons cause nothing but fear and distrust of that reality. Okay, Sabra, someone tag Sabra, because she sent this in. Goodness, she sent this in like 45 minutes ago, an hour ago. So I want Sabra to know I'm answering her question. So Sabra, a lot of times we have this deep inner knowing that we're going to follow the same patterns as we used to follow, even if we've learned new skills. So we're so used to us abandoning ourselves because we repeat the abandonment cycle. So if you were abandoned at a very young age, emotionally, physically, or otherwise, then your inner critic that embodies the bad parent, or whoever the caregiver was that was lacking in compassion, emotional availability, safety, we embody that because it's familiar, and we abandon ourselves for years and years and years and years until we don't anymore, until we recognize it and we go, wait a second, I've been abandoning myself for years. I've been abandoning myself. And then every day we just sort of pause and go, how can I not abandon myself today? How can I really do what's best for me today? And just seriously talk it out loud like that, and acknowledge yourself during those times that you don't abandon yourself. Acknowledge yourself when you're, and give yourself credit where credit is due, when you make healthy choices and you're not abandoning yourself. The CPTSD demons are so awful. CPTSD is such an a-hole, and it loves to tell us lies and tell us that we're going to continue abandoning ourselves no matter what. Even though, hello, we're going on a year of no abuse, which is huge, huge. My first year was huge. And let me just tell you, I was 40, like 40. Okay, I think you're a lot younger than me. So high five, girl. Willow says, I'm so stuck and overwhelmed by the world. I have cut off all contact with every person I know. 4 months in, and I feel even more like I cannot break out of fear. Question mark. Oh, Willow, I am so sorry. Willow, if someone could tag Willow, please, and let her know that I'm answering her question. It is natural for us to overcorrect. And what do I mean by that? So if we're driving along, okay, let's say we're driving, and then someone's coming at us, and so we swerve to get out of the way of the car that's coming at us. Now, we might not have needed to swerve as far to the right as we did. We just wanted to swerve enough to the right so that the oncoming car wasn't going to hit us. So then here we are, we're swerved so far to the right that now we're going to hit a tree. So then we swerve all the way to the left, and then we're like, oh no, we overcorrected, and now we're over in the left lane, and we're going to go head on with somebody else. Then it takes us a while before we don't overcorrect, okay? It's like that with boundaries. With me, I did the same thing. I cut everybody off. Everybody out. Everybody was out. No one was safe. And that's a rigid boundary. which is the opposite of a porous or non-existent boundary. The healthy sweet spot is in the scary middle, where the gray is, and that is pliable, healthy boundaries, where the good can stay in and the bad can stay out, and the good can come in and the bad can get out, and the bad can't come in and the good doesn't seep out. So those are healthy boundaries. So you're just figuring out your sweet spot, and you're going to find your sweet spot where it's a healthy boundary, and it's not like a rigid nobody for 4 months. And then it's not a wide open, I trust everyone, and then you get re-victimized and re-traumatized. Like, you'll find your sweet spot. Just don't give up. Please don't give up, because there is hope. I promise you, I've done this. I did exactly what you're describing. And it just took me a while, but I figured it out. And I know that if I can figure it out, anybody can. You can. I know you can. You're amazing. Dana says, I constantly feel like I'm on the verge of a trauma response. Please tell me it will get better. It will get better, Dana. I promise. It does. It does feel like we go from fight to flight to freeze to whatever to fawn to like, and then we're like cruising along for like a minute, and then we're like triggered again. And like, I was literally just on a call this morning with a colleague of mine. I was so excited, and I'm like, I'm seeing myself differently, and I'm showing up differently in the world, and it's been amazing, and it's been this powerful 3 days, and I've had these epiphanies, and I'm documenting this, and it's awesome, and I see this growth, and I'm so excited. And I was talking about that this morning, and then I get the phone call. The guy's coming to do the plumbing, the stuff with the house, and then he had cigarette smoke. And I was like flung into this whole thing. I'm just like, really? I was just celebrating myself. I was just throwing myself a party, having a happy dance. Because, hello, I see myself differently. I'm showing up in the world differently. Everything's going awesome, business-wise, financially, everything, relationally, all of it. My energy's like out through the roof. I feel so good. It was like awesome. I was like, woohoo! And then the cigarette smoke happened. And it's just cigarette smoke, right? Or am I judging myself? It's not just cigarette smoke. It was an emotional flashback. Cigarette smoke is the thing. It's the trigger that was like part of every bad thing that ever happened to me. So I was reliving all of my trauma in that one moment. And so I promise you, it gets better, Dana. But Dana, it doesn't go away overnight. Like, it'll get better, and then it'll be like, dang it. And then it'll get better, and you'll be like, dang it. And we can choose to be like walking on eggshells, like, oh, I feel good right now, but it's going to be short-lived because it's going to suck in like a day. Like, we can do that if we want to. Or we can go, I wonder how long I can go. I wonder like how long I'm going to feel this amazing right now. And like, I'm just going to celebrate my wins, and I'm just going to be like, go me, and throw myself a party, you know? And we can choose to do it that way, or we can choose to like, you know, hold out for doom. We can choose. So I'm hoping that you'll choose to believe that it gets better and that you're going to do amazing things, because you are. Holistic Recovery says, how can we deal with loved ones that are still in contact with unsafe people? We can't. We absolutely can't. We can only control us. I have loved ones that are in my safe circle, like in my like inner circle, and they're still in contact with very unsafe people in my life, and I can't control it. And I choose not to. I don't comment on it. I don't insert myself in it. I allow them to judge and choose themselves. I respect their journey, and I focus on my own. And that's all we can do. And it works. I promise it works. I promise it works. So we can't. Heroes Don't Wear Capes says, how does one learn to discern to break the habits of hypervigilance? It just takes time. It takes time. Like I was telling Willow, we can overcorrect. Like, we can be like hypervigilant and be like, this is so exhausting. I'm not going to do this anymore. And then be like, and then all of a sudden we're re-traumatized, and we allow like unsafe people into our like inner circle because we weren't vigilant enough. It's just finding that sweet spot of vigilance, which isn't even called vigilance once we find the sweet spot. It's just called discernment, which you even mentioned, discernment. So discernment and vigilance are on a spectrum. Right? Like, hypervigilance is over here and discernment is over here, and vigilance is like right in the middle. So if you're feeling vigilant, then you're not feeling hypervigilant, And then on the other side of hypervigilance is discernment. You're like, I'm calmly choosing to look at this. I want to glance at it, and I want to hold the weight of it and weigh the pros and the cons and go, okay, what am I going to do? And then when you discern that something is safe, then you move forward. And if you haven't discerned that it's safe, then you pause and you just give yourself some time. It's going to take some time. You gotta really exercise your patience. And I know that's not easy. Ooh, someone tagged Gary. Hi, Gary. I'm so excited you're here. Gary says, how to respond to feelings of doubt that the reality of childhood abuse. Ooh, I think what Gary's trying to say is, how do you respond to feelings if you're doubting that your abuse ever really even happened? Like you're starting to doubt your own story. Gary, I want to gently and firmly ask you to check in with your body, because your body knows. Even if your mind can't remember the details and you don't have a pretty timeline to pluck things on a little hash mark, like on a calendar, your body knows. And I know that you're really good with somatic parts of your recovery. You're really good with sitting with yourself and checking in with your body, and you're very introspective and you sit with things and you have a lot of patience with yourself. It's one of your strong suits. It's one of your superpowers of your recovery, is that you have patience and you don't give up. You're determined. And I want to ask you, if you're doubting your recovery or you're doubting that your abuse ever happened, I would check in with your body and I would find out like where you're feeling the trauma, and I would sit with it and I wouldn't deny it or deny yourself the reality and the satisfaction of knowing that this really did happen. It really did. And if you don't have any somatic response whatsoever and you're feeling really free about the whole thing in your life, then maybe that one particular thing didn't necessarily happen. But our body remembers. The body remembers. Like, for instance, this is an example. If someone could tag Gary. So the guy shows up and has the cigarette smoke. If cigarette smoke didn't play a part in my abuse, would I have had that type of like flipped out like response that I had? Probably not. Now, could I pinpoint one situation where the cigarettes were involved? Probably not. It was more of an emotional flashback. It was like, I recognize this. This is an unsafe feeling. When I smell this smell, bad stuff happens. And I felt it all throughout my solar plexus, like deep inside my gut, like behind my belly button, above my belly button, and behind, like deep inside me. And so my short answer, Gary, because I'm running out of time, is check in with your body, because your body knows. And we can't make this stuff up, you guys. Like, there's no way any of us wants to be a part of the club. This is the club no one wants to be a part of, but yet we're all here together, you know? I'll answer further in the group if you want, Gary. Tag me if you post something, and I'll be there. Deborah says, I was at church yesterday and typically sit with a safe person, although she didn't sit with me, so I felt unsafe. How can I attend and feel safe? That's a hard one. That's a really hard one. I'm 5 minutes over. That's a hard one, Deborah. That's going to take some time, because your body knows that the environment you're in is unsafe, and your body feels safe because this person is next to you right here. And so if you're allowing yourself to go to an unsafe place and you're only safe if there's another person there, then I would recommend choosing a different fellowship, choosing a different church location to go to if you can, or choose to stay home until you feel safe enough to go. I know that's shame-inducing, or it can be, but I stayed home from church for a good month and a half because I wasn't feeling safe for a particular reason. And I just attended yesterday for the first time, and I felt safe. I think it was because I just needed to wait And when I attended yesterday, I was fully prepared to feel unsafe and not shame myself. But I enjoyed it and I didn't feel unsafe, even though the same people, the same person was there that I consider to be unsafe. I was able to handle it. I don't know. Maybe it's through self-care or time. But it's probably not the entire body of Christ. It's probably not God. There's a chance that it might not be, Scripture itself, or, your faith, that the way that you experience your faith. It could be a particular person or a certain type of music, a volume of music, a certain person that speaks, a certain smell, a certain group of people. Like it would really be awesome for you, Deborah, if you were able to sit, if someone could tag Deborah, if you were able to sit with and find out what exactly it is about the church experience that is unsafe for you. And then we can address it and sort of like deconstruct it and pull it apart, reverse engineer what would be safe, and then move forward. Katie says, when I experience fear, which causes freezing and dissociation, does this make me more at risk to further trauma? I feel targeted and maybe it's related. I don't know. I'm exhausted. I don't know I wouldn't say that it makes you more at risk for further trauma if you address the feelings of unsafety. If you deny yourself, like you deny, I'm not unsafe right now. I'm feeling super unsafe and I'm just going to plow forward anyway. And you don't listen to your body that's trying to warn you. Because remember, our feelings are just messengers. They are loyal messengers. They are giving us a message, and they're a loyal messenger. Loyal, like they care only about us, our feelings. And so I would listen to them. I wouldn't say that you're at the risk of further trauma unless you ignore like your feelings of unsafety and you plow forward, anyway. So I hope that's helpful, Katie. Would you let me know? Someone tag Katie Lee if you could. Last question. I'm 8 minutes over. Heroes Don't Wear Capes says, whenever someone is suggesting or directly telling me to do something, I will say no. It just flies out, even if it's not my answer. At times, I even accidentally interrupt. Is it a trigger maybe? It is a trigger. If you find yourself like automatically like handling something a certain way without you even willing it to happen, then you're likely triggered into a flee response if it's a no. Or if you automatically say yes, that's a fawn response. That's automatic. Mine was the opposite. Heroes Don't Wear Capes. Mine was, if someone could tag Heroes Don't Wear Capes, mine was I would automatically say yes and then just figure it out afterwards. Because it was my automatic trauma response. Like I would just automatically say yes, no matter what. And it was a trigger. But I know better now. I have healthier boundaries now. And it takes a while to develop healthy boundaries with ourselves. We have to develop healthy boundaries within ourselves, and then we can have healthy boundaries with others. It just is the way it is, and it's hard. It's so hard. But I'm 10 minutes over, guys. So I want to be respectful of your time. And I want to invite you back next week, as always, every Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here. And next week, we're going to continue the series on feelings and how to navigate them in our CPTSD recovery. And next week, we're going to discuss the feeling of anger. So bring your questions. And I will likely show up with some sort of practical application. Hopefully I don't like freak out and become angry with someone this week, but you just never know what's going to happen, right? So thank you so much for being here and for supporting one another. If you want access to a library of downloadable resources, hundreds and hundreds of pages, you can go to nomoreshameproject.com and click on downloadables, and you'll be given immediate access to the whole library. You got to enter your email address. And I don't really send out a lot of emails. I'm gonna, but I just haven't in like 4 years. I've been collecting email addresses for 4 years and haven't really sent out very many emails. So once I do, y'all are gonna unsubscribe, but that's okay. I'm willing to risk it because I want to communicate with you. So I just wanted just say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being kind to one another. Thank you for being respectful to one another. Thank you for welcoming new people that come here. Thank you for all of the awesome chat that's going on over here in the box. And thanks for all of the awesome comments below. If you're watching a replay, please like this video, please subscribe to this channel. And if you're interested in shorter videos that are more like day in the life of, like vlog type, then search for me on YouTube, youtube.com, mostly Athena. And I'm going to be doing like vlog type videos, like just sharing where I live in Hawaii and like sharing like self-care and like day in the life of type stuff. Like, I haven't done it yet, but I'm gonna. Or there's a link down in the description section at the very bottom right above the comments. You can just click it and it will subscribe you to my channel, I think. So, okay. Well, thanks, guys. I'll see you next Monday. Same time, same channel, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, navigating feelings through our CPTSD recovery. And next week, we're discussing the feeling of anger. So thanks so much. See you next week. Bye.